The largest predator on Skull Island was the Vistatosaurus rex, or the Ravager lizard king. Like their prehistoric tyrannosaur relations, the Skull Island V-Rexes had little to no competition for their spot as top predators. In spite of their size, they could turn on a surprising burst of speed for short periods, clocking up to 25 miles per hour for limited stretches in pursuits of prey. V-Rexes developed many unique features over the 65 million years since the age of dinosaurs, but they still bore several recognizable similarities to their Cretaceous ancestors. V-Rexes had large heads filled with long teeth that were constantly being regrown to replace those lost in conflict. Their heads were intensely reinforced with heavy bone. As the primary weapon of the animal, an individual Vistatosaurus head was often distinctive, being covered in scars and calluses. Abnormal bone growths also formed from old battles with prey, other predators, rivals, or even mates. Narrow, short rib cages and a large gap between the ribs and hips allowed V-Rexes surprising flexibility for animals of their size, a necessary adaptation for the broken terrain of Skull Island. Their forelimbs were small in comparison with the rest of their bodies, not growing as fast as the rest of the animal, so that by adulthood this disparity, in spite of their size, was strikingly evident. Early tyrannosaurids only bore 2 fingers on their forelimbs, but Skull Island V-Rexes had 3. When dragging carcasses, the tiny arms helped pin the meat against the body and prevent it from swinging around. The extent to which Skull Island V-Rexes had developed since the Cretaceous period was most evident in their skulls. Large bony masses had developed over time, and basically throughout missing link species you could see these growths become more prominent and prominent until eventually it culminated in that of the Skull Island species that we know now. While juvenile V-Rexes tended to cluster in the thick jungle interior, the large adults hunted mostly in the open areas of the lowlands where they could move more freely. Large bulls sought the most open terrains, where mature females usually staked claims to areas on the fringes of the thicker forest where they could find hidden nesting sites. Fiercely territorial adult V-Rexes suffered no rival encroachments on their hunting grounds. Territorial boundaries were regularly marked with urine, and dawn roaring would reinforce claims to land. Neighbors could tell much about the physical condition from the owner of a territory just by the smell of its urine and the sound of a roar. Displays in scenting minimalized potentially dangerous confrontations between animals of differing sizes. Occasionally, disputes between evenly matched V-Rexes could still erupt, but the threat of serious injury, these confrontations were usually resolved with intense roaring matches, in which each animal attempted to intimidate the other into giving way. However, when this failed, violence erupted, and older V-Rexes generally bore many crisscross scars across their face just from these fights. Exceptions to the solitary existence were made in the breeding season. Males would leave their hunting grounds to seek out females, and if the female was receptive, she would accept the bull. The couple may stay together, hunting in her territory for several days before she'd tire of him and sent him on his way. Adolescent V-Rexes, seeking to hone their hunting skills, would sometimes follow adults at a safe distance during the mating season, watching and occasionally stealing meals from unguarded kills. Taking advantage of the season of nomadic adult males, bold adolescents might move in to claim currently undefended territory as their own. V-Rexes were more than capable of tackling very large prey species, but their massive size was often also employed to intimidate smaller carnivores into giving up their kills. While effective hunters, a meal was much safer to obtain by simply appropriating someone else's carcass. V-Rexes had intensely acidic stomachs capable of processing even the most rancid of rotting meats, a feature that served the species well as heavyweight scavengers. Their massive jaws could also exert astonishing pressure, shattering bone to expose the rich marrow that less robust predators were unable to reach. As hunters, Skull Island's V-Rexes tended to employ ambush tactics, using cover in and around watering holes or forested areas to surprise their prey. Leucocristis were the primary prey of adult V-Rexes, being the most abundant. Fructus and Brontosaurus were more dangerous prospects. However, if a young or sick animal could be separated from the protection of the herd, it could make for an easy kill. Any smaller species were likely game, though most were too small to provide anything more than a snack for this massive creature. The greatest challenge for the hunter lay in not being spotted by its prey. The adult V-Rexes were dark in coloring and, despite their size, could be surprisingly stealthy, using shadows near the fringes of scrub, rocky outcroppings, or even the ruins to hide their approach. Their black scales also aided V-Rexes in warming up quickly in the mornings, boosting their energy levels to gain an advantage over the still sluggish herbivores. The fact that Kong was able to 3v1 these things is just a testament to how absolutely badass he is, and in the end, he was dead dirty. Once again, this has been Non-Credible Zoology. Stay tuned, I'll keep talking about this movie, it's absolutely awesome. Shout out to Peter Jackson and Weta Workshop, see you next time.